Hi, thanks for joining the show today. During part of the show, we'll be talking with Valda Sarty. She is the owner of Elements Salon. She's going to give us some insight into what they've been doing to prepare to reopen to the public and what it will take for that to happen. We'll also talk with one of the gals who works at her salon and has for many years. Her name is Drea Walter, and she's going to give you some tips for taking care of your hair, your face, everything else while we are sheltering in and have no access to our favorite salons in town. So I think she's even going to give a tutorial on herself for cutting bangs, but that's later in the show. Thanks for joining us, Valda.
Hi, thank you for inviting me. Pleasure to be here.
So let's talk a bit about just where you're at as a salon owner. You've owned Elements for many, many years. How many years?
23.
23 years. And obviously this is the first time you've encountered anything like this.
Yeah, we've had some interesting things happen over the years, but this is, unique to all of us. It's a new one.
It's a new one. So you and I have been in touch a bit, and you had talked about just you guys have been cleaning, and doing everything you can to prepare to reopen. Is there
That's
any
correct.
word?
I thought until about an hour and a half ago that I was probably up there with the most informed in the Pacific Northwest in my industry and in the topic of the shutdown and reopening overall. However, was on a networking call this morning with some nice salons over in the Seattle and Oregon area. But the Seattle ones are who I was talking with, and they were had a different date, a different start date than we've had in mind. The governor said on the May 1st briefing, phase one started on, well, actually May 5th, and that there would be at least 3 weeks interval between phases. Obviously, those can change, but that there was a minimum of a 3 week interval, which would have put us at May 25th or 26th for phase two, which is salons and a lot of the retail and restaurants. This morning, my sources from Seattle were saying June 1st and June 2nd. So I have a document from the health department in Grant County that says May 25th is the earliest opening, and yet there's just confusion and chaos everywhere.
Even in your own industry of people who are trying to get informed, it's just very difficult.
Oh, and it's very difficult because the salons, of course, we run by appointment. And we're a team-based salon, so that means that our front desk handles appointments for all the stylists, all the practitioners. So trying to get people rescheduled and set up so they know when we can't even begin until we have a hard date. And I don't know that we're going to have a hard date till maybe the day before. We also don't have protocols laid out exactly on how in the state of Washington what's going to be required of the salons and spas. So what I've been doing is following the standards, best practices from all over the country for the past couple of weeks. I've got some great connections in the industry, and kind of just going to the leaders, and of course, beginning with OSHA because OSHA is the overall umbrella in this type of situation. So I have lots of information and I know what we can expect. We just don't know what exactly will be in Washington. Historically, Washington is very strict. We're one of the toughest states in the country to get a cosmetology, aesthetic, barbering license in. So I'm expecting it to be a little tough, but it's going to be a different experience going into the salons in the beginning.
What are some of the things that you've been doing? You're just trying to make best use of this time and clean
Mhm.
and prepare. And what can clients expect when they come in?
Okay, well, we have been getting certified in sanitation from our industry's top sanitation company, a hospital grade sanitizer that we use called Barbicide. There's other things you can use that just happens to be our gold standard. We have scrubbed everything from walls to floors, all the furniture, all the stations, all the desks, everything has been sanitized. One of the things that you can expect going into salons, which is a standard across the United States so far, is removing any type of waiting areas or equipment that you don't need. So there's a lot of space. Of course, they still have the 6 foot distancing in effect. So all the salons are trying to make more space. We're taking two of our five stations out of commission so that we have 6 feet between stations from the time you walk into the door, um, which will probably be one of the very heavily used tactics across the country is having people call by text, either call or text to say, okay, we're ready for you and now you can come in. So there's no waiting or gathering of bodies, no extra bodies. Your children can't come in if they don't have an appointment. It's for people with appointments only, no extra bodies in the salon
So
and
what would you
spa.
do for like the people when I get my hair colored, I sit in one area while I'm waiting, and then you start with the next person. There'll have to be a limited number of those kind of services happening, right? Because that person, only a couple people can sit in that 6 foot apart area.
Right. There will be that spacing, and there may or may not be a number of people in the salon period per square footage, or it could be that they're like right now the mandate is you can't gather with more than 10 people. So is it 10? That's what I've been hearing is like a kind of the standard of 10 people in the salon. Some of them are doing it by square footage. We've opened up a lot of the area in the spa. We have 3,000 square feet total. Doesn't seem like that when you come in, but there's 3,000 square feet. So we've opened up some of the rooms, one massage room that will be a color application room. So we've got great distance back there. We turned our changing room into a processing space. So people who are processing their hair color have had another space to go into. So we've been able to manage really spreading things out well where we could feasibly handle our regular client load with our number of stylists who are on at a time. But that'll all be mandated probably at the last minute, and who knows what the rules are going to be. But we're prepared.
You're prepared. That's the most important part. And I think that
Hmm.
the businesses in our community are just wanting to know, like, when can we open? Tell us the rules. We'll follow them. Not everyone's saying that, but the
Yeah,
majority of people, I think, are saying that just tell us what to do and we'll do it. Give us the
correct.
opportunity.
One of the things that people can expect too that's very important is across the board, they're requiring salons because the deal with salons is that we're high touch. Right underneath medical, we're probably the next highest touch industry out there, including massage, of course, occupational therapy, but we're right up in there. We touch every single client that comes through the door for services. So the expectations and the standards are very high. One of them is that uh, the clients will be required to wear a mask coming in, and of course, all the staff at Elements will be required to wear a mask. So that's some people don't like wearing a mask. There's a lot of controversy about mask or no mask, but and I have my own opinions about that, but we will be following whatever mandate is passed down for the safety of our clients and our staff. It's going to be a different experience. One of the other controversial pieces are gloves. Like a lot of people think, well, we should be wearing gloves. Gloves are very, the cross contamination when wearing gloves is a big issue. I think we probably
Yeah,
all heard about
people just
that.
think that you have a gloves on and it sterilizes everything you touch, and that's just not how it works.
Oh,
Washing,
absolutely.
it doesn't replace hand washing, that's for sure. So I hear
And
you.
once you touch something, then and you go and touch something, then you're cross contaminating. So unless we are required to wear gloves, we probably will not because we have many hand washing stations. We have set up some in the pedicure room so we can use those sinks. We have the manicure room. We have 2 restrooms. We have a lot of hand washing stations.
Well, I'm glad to get to talk with you. We're going to take a break now and talk with Andrea. She's going to give us some tips for taking care of all of this situation from home until you do reopen. So thanks for being here. I can't wait to see you in person, and
Oh
just
yes.
hang in there and keep plugging, and we'll come out the other side of this, hopefully more appreciative of businesses like yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Lisa.
Sure. Take care. See you soon.
You too.
Hi, we're back. We're talking salons through part of the show today, and we have Drea Walter. She's worked at Elements Salon for quite some time, and she is empathizing with all of you at home who are trying to keep up with all of this situation without the help of the professionals that we rely on for so much of it. So she's going to give us some tips for keeping it together at home, including products to avoid, things to try. And I think she said she'd give us a demonstration of cutting bangs by doing hers herself. So thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're a familiar face at Elements. How long have you worked there?
At the beginning of August, I will have been there 21 years.
Wow, 21 years. Well, congratulations. Let's talk about just the other side of this. And I'm sure you're hearing from your friends about like, what do I do? Like, how do I cover this gray? And or what do you do if you're blonde and you have gray coming in? So what are some of the most common things you're hearing, and what are some of the remedy ideas you have?
Well, my first answer to, when people ask about a box dye is don't.
Wait it out.
Yeah, wait it out. There are some fabulous products on the market. We carry a root spray, a temporary root spray.
I'm using it right now.
Yeah. Yeah, and it really works good for those times that you do want to go to the grocery store, to be able to spray that on those areas.
And does it work for, I don't know because I'm not a blonde, but do they have it for blonde hair too?
They do have it for light hair. It's just not as popular.
I'm used to having to come up with ideas and remedies because when I go on tour, I'm gone for a good 6 weeks or so each year. And so I'm not going to trust another salon somewhere out on the road. So I've been using that spray and stuff for a long time. And the 2 years I traveled in a camper, dry shampoo became I prefer 3-day-old hair now because there's nothing like dry shampoo sometimes I'll use dry shampoo on my first day of wash just because it gives that little grit to grab onto. So the face part of it, for the people who are used to having facials, what's your advice?
My advice would be, number one, while we're going through, we talked about this prior, but while we're going through this deep cleaning and reorganizing and all of that, go through your facial products and see if there are things in there that if you didn't know when you purchased it, it needs to be thrown away. Anything in a jar that you've had open longer than 12 months needs to be thrown away. My thing would be, let's get a good cleanse, do a deep cleanse, exfoliate, and then tone and moisturize. Give yourself a facial.
So trimming the hair yourself, I've managed to not do that so far. For the people who are like, I'm going to cut my bangs, you said that you would trim yours today and show us how to do it yourself.
I will do that.
Okay, let's do that then.
Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is get the hair out of the way. Can you see me?
I can see you.
Okay, so here is the main thing. Find your bangs, okay?
Yeah, you don't need any extras in there, right?
Nope. Here are my bangs. The main thing is they are clean, they are dry, and they are styled in the way that I normally would blow them dry. Now, let me say this. If you can, grow them out by doing a side sweep. So that you don't get yourself in a predicament. We got, let's all pray to the gods and goddesses that we have 2 weeks and that's it. Now, when you pull your bangs down and you loosen them up, you're going to see how much they need to come up. See, I need to come up from here to about here. It's about a 1/2 inch.
Ooh, that's scary.
Okay, about a 1/2 inch. That's why I'm saying look from underneath. And we're going to use sharp scissors. We are not going to use the Fiskars out of the kitchen cabinet. We're going to use embroidery scissors, craft scissors, at the very worst, cuticle scissors, but something that has a nice sharp point. Okay, so you're going to hold them. See how I'm kind of holding them out like that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to tilt down and I'm going to look and see that, and I am going to take that 1/2 inch off.
And at no point are you cutting straight across.
No point. Not at all.
Yeah, hold that finger up so we can see. There you go. There you
See?
go. Yep.
Okay. Now I'm going to let go.
Okay.
All I did, am I close enough? All
Yeah.
I did was take that little half inch off. Okay.
And then you can go to the side or the middle with it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Got it.
So, like I said, we got 2 weeks, ladies. I'm with you. We want 2 weeks.
We appreciate you guys so much. I think people will be bringing you flowers and all kinds of things, showing their support and appreciation of you. So thanks for being here today. I appreciate it very much. Your
I
bank
thank
was
you
fabulous.
so much.
Yeah, you always
This
great.
has been a lot of fun.
Cool. Well, thanks so much. So we will see you soon, hopefully, and thanks for all that you're doing.
Okay. Thank you.
Take
Bye,
care.
everybody.
Hi, joining me now on the show is someone I met through Facebook. I saw her post a few years ago after she posted from an ICU. She had a heart attack at 37 years old, and she almost didn't call 911. She coded on her way in the ambulance and would have died at home alone had she not made that call. I ended up interviewing her last year during the Don't Wait Project tour when we were in the southern states. She lives in North Carolina. And I wanted to have her here today because her life has drastically changed since I last saw her last year. She's celebrated 11 months of sobriety so far, quickly approaching that 1-year mark. Her name is Christine Wayne, and I'm super excited to have her here. Thank you for being here, Christine.
Hi.
I'm so excited to have become friends with you outside of the work we both do, but what I want to focus on now is just a little bit of, I explained that you'd had the heart attack, you'd gone through some major changes, you traveled for an entire year, and at the end of that, when I met you last year, was a little bit after that completion of that first year, you weren't quite settled yet, something was still off, and you decided to go to rehab and quit drinking entirely. And you weren't too excited about the idea of never holding a fancy drink in your hand again. So tell us a little bit about, that's a lot of information, but your sobriety is a little different than, not different bad, different good, but like it's your own. You have really created a space for yourself.
Yeah, when I checked into treatment, that was my own decision. I had this really heavy depression, and even when I went into treatment, I didn't know that my last drink of Chardonnay was going to be my last. I just knew that alcohol wasn't working for me, and I knew it was a depressant, and I knew that it wasn't working for me, wasn't serving me anymore. What I didn't know was that my life would feel so much better without it, that the darkness would lift, that my body would change. I lost 35 pounds, that I just truly felt so much better. But I'd always been the so fun girl, right? And I was afraid, and this was probably something that was holding me back from wanting to give up alcohol, was I was afraid of losing my identity of being the so fun girl, and having been in hospitality, food and beverage industry for 20 years. It was such a big part of me. I was afraid of, not, hiding from restaurants, not going into restaurants, right?
Right.
So I didn't know how to be sober and like not be around drinking.
I'm sure that's a challenge that many people who are making the decision to no longer drink face. I mean, it is, because so much of drinking is social. Mm-hmm. And what I wanted to get to is, in your decision making, you're told some things about sobriety. Yours is, you have an Instagram page, and you work from the notion of insightful sobriety, and I love it. And then you also have a page now that you've recently started that's just hugely taken off, called On the Mocks. And I love that you have a space for people. There are as many people who, it seems to me from reading the posts, who are drinkers still, as there are people who are no longer drinking. And I think you're getting people thinking about how much they're drinking, especially right now when people are, joking that happy hour starts at noon or whatever it is. And I think about you sometimes when I see posts like that, because I think you must go, oh, thank goodness that's not me anymore, right?
Mhm.
Because this would be a time of really having to check yourself. So On the Mocks gives you an opportunity to create, like behind you, if the audience notices, there is your mocktail bar that is lovely. And tell us how you've gone about creating this mocktails movement that also tastes good and feels fun. Like it lets you be that fun girl you want to be.
Yeah, and a lot of people have told me that I put that in their head to inspire them to maybe just drink less. I don't want to tell people to not drink. I just want to maybe to inspire people to maybe drink a little bit less, right? So there's so many options, right? Of course, there's non-alcoholic beer. There's alcohol removed wine, but there's also, there's all these spirits. May I mention some names? I don't know, but
Sure.
Seedlip and Liars, and I have these Ritual Zero. These look like, it could look like a bar. I always thought that bars were pretty. When I had to go through a grieving process when I left my treatment center rehab, of like, restaurants are pretty, bars are pretty. Am I allowed to sit at a bar? Can I sit at a bar? I was told that I shouldn't. Right? And I had to go through a grieving process. Now, these are all alcohol free, right? I can make a drink for myself at 5 o'clock, or this at the evening. I had barbecue with my family the other night, and I made a drink with seedlip and ginger beer with a slice of lime, and I can measure it out. I'm enjoying the craft of the mocktail, right? I'm becoming a little bit of a bartender.
Mhm.
And I'm learning from other big mixologists and bartenders, and I'm sharing that with the group. And what the group is doing, and they're learning recipes, and they're sharing back with me. And I didn't think about that, right? And when you take time to appreciate a drink, when you put thought into it, you sip the drink. I wasn't sipping when I was drinking alcohol. I was getting lost with my wine. I would drink 3 glasses of wine in the time that I now drink a non-alcoholic mocktail.
Right.
There was more of an issue there. I was getting lost in alcohol. And now I'm sipping a mocktail. So it's not for everybody. I was even told I shouldn't drink, a non-alcoholic beer. It could trigger something. So I can't advise anybody to do that. But for if you're pregnant, if you're on a diet, if you just want to, with COVID and the pandemic, just drink less, because we know that alcohol is a depressant. You want to drink less. You want to, have that bottle in your hand, or the cold sensation of a beer, because I think some of it is that mindset. Pizza, burgers, you want that feeling.
Sometimes I
Heineken
think it's
Zero,
more of a habit than an addiction. It's a
in some
habit
ways
to
it is.
start to cook and grab that glass of wine. It's a habit, these things that you form. And you make the joke, which I think is hysterical. We're going to wrap up here, but I wanted to end with this funny part that you say, if you'd have realized your last drink was going to be, was it in a red cup?
It was cheap Chardonnay in a plastic cup in the back of the car, petting my puppy on the way to treatment. I mean, on Cinco de Mayo. I mean, it should have been a margarita, right?
Right. You missed that chance, but you've got many other options now. And I'm going to share some of the pictures so people will see the lovely things that you were talking about. But I encourage people to follow your social media, Insightful Sobriety, as well as On the Mocks. You have lovely pictures. People are posting what they're drinking for the weekend, all the mocktail ideas. You will become a mixologist by the time this is done. I'm certain of it. And I just thank you for sharing your insight, giving people an option during these times. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Lisa.
So best to you. And I'm excited to see your 12-month post, because you post such lovely, insightful, long posts. People read your long posts. People don't always read long posts, but they read yours. So I'm excited to see what that 12-month is, and I know that you're already stewing about what you're going to create for
No
us.
pressure.
Yeah,
No
no
pressure.
pressure. Thanks so much, and take care. Say hi to your parents for me.
Thank you so much. Thank you.